Let's talk about meditation. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I've hesitated just because I've actually been a little nervous about sharing. So the reason I've been nervous is because I am nowhere close to being accomplished, and in terms of meditation, I strive to have a practice, but I don't really have one. I've just kind of been searching and seeking myself. And so, my insecurities sort of have been saying, well, who the hell made you, the expert on meditation? And yet I'm sharing, and I'm really trying to be courageous now as I do this, because I feel like I probably know a little that might be helpful to you guys. I'm sitting outside and it's so loud. Let me see if I can go inside for a few minutes. Let me turn that off for a second. It's too loud outside. So in terms of meditation, let's talk a little bit about, how I kind of came on to this. About April, May is when I kind of, I've always meditated, but really not had a regular practice. I was doing it more with my clients in my office during sessions. I would, do a YouTube guided meditation, but not really practice per se. And what I realized is, I signed up to go to this 10-day silent meditation retreat in, I think it was June, and I wasn't able to go. My youngest went. It's called Vipassana. They're free. They're offered all over the world. I'm actually going November 4th to the 15th. And it's 10 days of sitting in silence, meditating, no talking, no electronics, no nothing. And it's one form of meditation that is more about mindfulness. It's about bringing your attention into your breath, observing your emotions, observing the physical symptoms that one has, and just being the observer instead of reacting. That comes from the Buddhist school of thought, where you just are detached from the, you just try to detach instead of attaching, which is what we all are. We're all attached. So back in June, when I wasn't able to go because of work and other commitments, I kind of, dived for about 10 days. I spent at least, I want to say 3 hours a day researching meditation, looking at YouTube videos, looking at, reading books, reading, different texts, holy texts, including texts from my own faith, and just trying to understand, what is this thing, meditation, that, everyone is like so gung-ho about, right? It's like that night that I did my first video. Like, on most days I'm clear, but during that time, I could not remember for the life of me what meditation was all about, and I really was an ardent seeker. And so this is what I discovered and what I found in researching meditation. There's different types of meditation. One is mantra meditation, and mantra meditation is literally that, right? You pick a mantra, whether it's Om Namah Shivaya, whether it's Hare Rama Hare Krishna, whether it's Ya Ali Ya Muhammad, whether it's, any of the Buddhist chants for that matter, Om Mane Padme Om, or the other one that Tina Turner has popularized. I can't remember for the life of me right now. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Whatever your faith is, and if you don't have a faith, look it up and pick something that speaks to you in a positive way. And then you just repeat it under your breath out loud for about 30 days is what the experts say. That when you do that, what happens is, eventually when you sit every day for about 15, 20 minutes and you're repeating it fast, right? You're not saying, what I used to do is I would say, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, right? Or someone might say, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, right? But that's too slow, is what the experts said. They said what you need to do is say it really fast. So you would say, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, or Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And the idea is that you're saying it fast enough so that you're constantly obviously thinking about what you're saying as you're saying it, so that your thoughts cannot enter between what you're saying. So that's one way. And then what's supposed to happen, and again, I don't do the mantra meditation. I tend to do more tasbihs, which is more just a praying in terms of repeating, and the zikr tasbihs, where I repeat certain, mantras, for lack of a better word, but it's not in the form of meditation. But when you are doing the mantra meditation, it eventually, the experts say, the mantra becomes a part of you, and then it sort of comes from your soul, and you don't necessarily even are saying it. You're constantly in a state of meditation. Again, nowhere close to there yet. Haven't even started, but just putting it out there. That's one form, and very effective from what I'm reading. The other form is mindfulness, right? And that's kind of what I'm drawn to. And that's what I tend to practice. Is mindfulness is just slowing down, shutting down, and becoming aware of my breath, and just focusing on my breath, grounding my energy. Again, I would encourage you to research what the 7 chakras in your body are, where they're located, what the colors are. And I imagine bringing my attention into my heart space, which is the green chakra. And then I bring my attention down, I ground my energy, and when I pull the Kundalini energy from the earth, and I pull it up, I then end up, imagining that I'm literally lighting up the 7 chakras, bringing my attention up to my head, and then pulling that energy up through, the 7th plane of existence, or the 7th heaven, or just God, whatever you want to call it. And again, I'm imagining this. I'm literally making this up. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. In fact, your imaginations are very, very powerful. So what you imagine actually happens. So make it up. Our thoughts create all the time. And I'm reading this book for, what is it called? The Worst is Over is what it's called. It's a book for professionals who work in the ER, and it really just, it's talking about, it's giving amazing evidence, research-based evidence on how what we say influences the person's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and that literally ends up creating healing in the body. It's an amazing, powerful book. So coming back to mindfulness, what I do is I imagine lighting up the 7 chakras. I imagine going up to God's light, and I pull that energy back up in the form of white light, and I imagine pulling it through my body, and then I just sort of let it, vibrate up and down. And in that space, I sit and I breathe, and I just start to just get still, and what always tends to happen is my thoughts will enter. Of course, in the moment, I'm thinking about my to-do list. All of a sudden I'm thinking about, oh my God, I need to take the clothes out of the dryer. They've been sitting there. I need to fold them. And then I'll catch myself and I'll go, okay, stop, Anita. Bring your attention back to your breath. So I'll bring my attention back to my breath, and I'll do good for a few seconds. And before I know it, I'll go back into, another thought. And I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe she said this, or I can't believe, that happened, or whatever. Like, again, people say, people tell me all the time, I'm not doing it right. I don't think I'm meditating right because I'm constantly thinking about things. And I tell you what, if you weren't thinking about things, you'd have a problem, because then you'd be dead, right? As long as you're alive, you're going to have thoughts. Deepak Chopra said something about man has about 50,000 thoughts a day. The idea is not to stop the thoughts. The idea is to find the silence between the thoughts. So it's okay that you have thoughts. It's completely normal that you have thoughts. The idea is that you need to find the silence between those thoughts, and hopefully with practice, that space of silence gets larger and larger and larger. And that's what meditation is about, and finding the peace. In my experience, in my limited experience, I have gotten some of my best ideas in terms of projects I was currently working on, or things that, or solutions, I was looking for in terms of whatever issues I was dealing with in my meditation. I don't fight it. I just sort of, have learned to surrender to it. Like I said, I am going to the Vipassana thing. So that's going to be a little It's going to be scary, but it's going to be exciting. 10 days of no electronics, 10 days of no talking, 10 days of no communication with the outside world. The center I'm going to is in Texas somewhere. But again, they're offered all over the world. They're completely free. They don't cost a penny, except, of course, you getting, the transportation to get over there and you missing work, which is the commitment. But let's see what happens. I'm excited about that. How do you get started? Well, there's tons of YouTube videos. I think you go on YouTube and you can literally put down 2-minute guided meditation if you want to start. Start with 2 minutes. Or you can do 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, there's literally, hours and hours and hours of videos that you can find, anything from guided meditation where a voice is actually telling you what to do versus just music. When I started with the guided meditation. I started with, the 5 minute, the 10 minute, the 15 minute where I needed someone to tell me what to do. I needed the voice to keep me focused, to tell me where to move the light into my body and all that good stuff. Now I don't use the guided meditation. I still use it every now and then, but I don't use it as often. Now, especially since I've been doing the theta healing, I tend to just sort of go into the grounding space and pull my energy up that way and just sit in that mode. And it's funny because I'm getting a lot of, Alicia is saying, you look so zen. Thanks, Alicia. You saw me this summer, and the difference is the theta healing. I think I honestly feel that, my energy shifted, and in that, my physicality is shifting. I feel like it's being either reversed or stopped. There's a piece that is coming from within that. Of course, the diet helps, but I'm not even swimming like I used to. I'm not even exercising. I'm not doing anything different. I think it's just, it's not that I don't have bad days. I absolutely have bad days, and those are the days that I'll paint, or good days for that matter. I don't necessarily just paint when I'm having a bad day. I don't want you to think that. But I think having a practice of mindfulness, having a, taking time, in the morning to sit with myself for, even if it's just 10 minutes, is so powerful. Sitting with myself during the day. And, yes, the ideal time to meditate, according to a lot of faiths, is 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. because that is supposed to be the time when energetically the entire world is sleeping. There's very little movement around happening in the world. And that is why 4 and 5 is supposed to be the peaceful time. I don't get up at 4 and 5 in the morning because I'm usually going to bed around that time and my mind is cluttered. And so as much as I want to, I'm not disciplined. I don't do it then, which is fine. I do it more at, whenever I can find moments, I find that when I'm rested and I'm relaxed and I've gotten enough sleep, I'm able to actually sit and meditate. If I'm tired, my head is hurting, my body's hurting, I'm not able to sit and really even focus on anything at all. So, all I can say is, don't get so bogged down by, the shoulds and the coulds of how, you should do it that way. Forget the shoulds, find what works for you. Yes, use the shoulds as a guideline, but don't let those limit you and don't let those hold you back. The idea is to start. Just like any exercise, and any kind of, practice that you do, it's a practice. Meditation is something that we do for our mind, our brain, and our soul, all connected. I was reading something about, how in the 40s, before this whole exercise movement, which is so normal, and gyms popping up all over the place was mainstream, when someone was running, going for a run, neighbors would, of course, back in those days, sit outside in their little rocking chair, typical stereotypical stuff, right? And they'd be like, they would see someone running and they'd go, why is this person running? And they would look and check to see, is somebody chasing them? And we think now, and we think, how ridiculous does that sound, right? They were just running for exercise. But back then, it was such a novel idea that someone would actually be running for the sake of exercise was not even heard of. And what the author went on to say in this article I was reading is that, meditation is going to gain that momentum where we're going to see a lot of meditation, centers pop up where then people will actually go and take time out of their busy day. Just like they go to the gym to exercise, they will actually go to the meditation clinics and they will go meditate, because hopefully there'll be enough awareness about the importance and the benefits of meditation, and how you have to take care of your mind, your body, and of course, the diet, the movement with the awareness with the food is already happening, and more people are waking up and realizing, that what we eat is very important. So I think we're all shifting in that way. Anyways, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully, again, like I said, I'll be gone November 4th to the 15th. And when I get back, I'm going right into my busy schedule at working in the ER. I did get that position, praise God. But I'll be in touch after that. But I'm sure, I'll do a few videos or whatever, talk to you guys before that. But take care and God bless. Bye-bye.